So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology. iPhone 8 Plus on iOS 16 had a few requests on this one, also had some requests on the iPhone 11 that will be coming soon, but the iPhone 8 was one of the worst performers so far I've seen on iOS 16. Again, we are in the preliminary stages. We're only in iOS 16 developer beta 1, so don't take this as the final performance. We will consider covering them again as we get further along down the beta stages. But let's go ahead and boot this thing up, see how long it does take to turn on. The difference here between this one and the 8 is simply 1 GB of RAM, but it also has a bigger battery. And I kind of just want to see how it takes a battery hit, how it performs here for those of you who may be considering trying out the public beta. You might want to see how it performs. You can see the boot up wasn't too slow, but wasn't too quick. It was pretty decent though, overall, not terrible. Okay, so you can see we're now in the phone. Touch ID performs fantastic as always. Who misses Touch ID? Let me know. But you can see we do have the iOS 16, the new lock screen right here, and it'll show some widgets. You are seeing that we are beginning this test with 89% battery. Do keep that in mind as we go along. It probably won't drain too much in this video, but we'll just keep an eye on that. Now let's go ahead and confirm iOS 16 right here, general software update, and we're still on iOS 16 right here. Now the first thing I want to do, as I did with my other How Does It Run series, is kind of go add some wallpapers. This is the headlining feature right here. If it lags up, that would be super annoying. You can see right here going through pretty good on the emoji based. Going ahead and adding some stuff pretty fine here as well. Let's go ahead and add a few things, see if it does lag up. No issues. So at least Apple made sure that their headlining feature is performing well. So if you change the emojis here, you'll see no major difference whatsoever. Now scrolling through here just fine. Let's go ahead and add one here. You can see even when you go to click these different modes down here, they all seem to work just fine. So iPhone 8 Plus looking like, if you want to try out the new lock screens, you're not going to have a major issue with this area of the phone. It's definitely performing well over here. You can also add different colors and things like that. Tweak the colors to your liking. Pick your own specific color for that lock screen wallpaper. Pretty cool overall, not bad. Now I just kind of generally want to go through the OS as well, kind of see if we do get any lags or hangs. Not bad so far. So generally just scrolling through the actual operating system iOS right here, just on the main page, no issue on the home screen, no issues whatsoever. If we go to Control Center, things seem to be fine here. And look at that, we've only been doing this test for 2 minutes. We're already down 2% battery. Just had to notice that. I'm feeling warm this happening already, so definitely not quite ready so far, but you can see 3D touch still plenty fast enough here. There's a little delay sometimes here, you've seen right there, just a little bit slow, but overall I gotta say that it's not bad. I still actually like 3D touch. It's a little faster than the haptic feedback, and you can see that the Control Center works fine. In App Library, if we scroll through, see if we get any lags here. No problems here whatsoever, so you can definitely run that just fine. Let's go ahead and add a widget, see if we get any issues adding a widget. And you can see they are taking a little time to load up, but it's not a big deal here. Scrolling through, those are fine. Let's go through some fitness widgets. Those are good to go. You can see adding your widgets should be no issue. What about the search bar? So scrolling through the search bar, no major issues either. So pretty good on the general iOS. I would just say that it's getting a little bit slower, being that it's an A11 Bionic chipset. This is not even close to the current version, but it's still clocked at around 3 gigahertz or 2.39 gigahertz with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So it's still enough to run iOS here in 2022. It's just not going to be the fastest experience, but it's still fast enough for day-to-day use even in the modern era. So pretty solid overall in general iOS. All right, so let's go ahead now and run some applications, see if we can get this thing to lock up whatsoever. You can see calendar, good. Weather is good. We'll go into fitness, that's good. We'll go into Twitter here, and you'll see Twitter is also pretty good. So like I say, if you're noticing here, the 8 Plus definitely performs well enough. It's gonna get you through another year for sure, especially as they bring the performance upgrades, because iOS in the early beta stages doesn't really have the performance enhancements. They usually bring those near later towards the GM builds of the software. But even on this first beta, I can already tell you the 8 Plus is definitely going to survive another year for sure, even more maybe. I don't know if it'll get an update next year, we'll have to see, but it's definitely going to make it through this year if you wanted to keep your 8 Plus until the following year. I could tell you that right off the start. We're at 86% battery life here in just a few minutes, so battery life drained about 3% already, so definitely a lot quicker drain on the battery than I would find on, you know, just your stock version of iOS 15.5. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's opening up these applications. It's not super fast like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but it's not super slow either, so I could definitely use this phone and get by. So really good there. Geekbench, we'll go into Tempo Run, and yes, you can even run games. I'm also finding this one to do a little bit better job than the standard iPhone 8 at the heat. You know, maybe it's because it's a bigger phone. It is quite warm up here, but my iPhone 8 was a little warmer than this one. Maybe that's because it's in a smaller body. There's not as much space to kind of disperse that heat, so definitely that. Now, I did have the troubles with Motor Combat. You've seen it crashed right there, so you're gonna find certain apps do crash sometimes. 85, so you see it's just dropping pretty quick on the battery. So apps do crash, so that one's not gonna open. Let's kind of go through them, see if it holds anything, or even maybe stops holding something in the background. And 8 Plus doing just fine. Overall though, if they can get the battery upgrades with the, you know, future versions, like if the battery doesn't drain this fast on the official versions, and you know, we get some performance enhancements, which I do expect to come later in the beta process, iPhone 8 Plus is not looking too shabby. I think it's going to have a really good year overall for users once they get on with the beta process. Okay, got to make sure that the camera does perform well on this phone here. That's a very important feature for pretty much everyone. So you can see, opens up just fine. We do have no issues with the telephoto zooming right there. We go to video. That also seems to perform fine. Go over to the front facing camera. You can see that was fine as well. And then if we flip it around, portrait seems to be working. So we get any problems here? Square, panoramic. So everything in the camera seeming to be okay here. I don't think you're gonna have a major issue whatsoever with the camera. So definitely like the iPhone 8 Plus when it comes to beta 1 with the camera, not lagging up whatsoever. So if you try out public beta 1 when it comes, you're definitely not going to have a major issue with that camera. And here are our final Geekbench scores. You can see 901 on the single core, 2106 on the multi. So pretty close to your average for the iPhone 8 Plus on that single, and a little bit better on that multi-core. So definitely did better than the iPhone 8. Again, this phone didn't get quite as hot as the iPhone 8, just probably because, again, it's big enough. I think it's looking pretty good, promising for the 8 Plus in its future as these updates progress. So I wouldn't be too concerned about your 8 Plus this year with iOS 16, like it being horribly slow or anything like that. And I gotta just mention, you know, it's a better time now to buy used iPhones than it was back in the day. Like when the iPhone 5S got old and when the iPhone SE got old, the original SE, man, did those things run slow. So definitely as these newer Bionic chips get better and better, the phones seem to perform a little bit better as they get into their older age. Don't get me wrong, they still get a little bit choppy, like the 8 Plus doesn't run as good as it did day one, but it's still kicking and it's still doing better than, say, you know, your 1 GB RAM 5S from back in the day. So definitely looks okay for the 8 Plus. I wouldn't recommend buying this phone now, but if you have one, you want to try it out, make sure to do a backup. I think you'll get through the day-to-day, but you'll probably want to go back to the official, you know, just because the battery drain is kind of high. Let's actually check that final battery drain right quick here. You can see we started at 89 and wow, we're already down to 82. Again, though, we did a Geekbench test, so that could play into the factor because that is pushing the CPU harder than you might. So you could say it drained a good 6-7% overall throughout this video. Thumbs up if you found the video helpful, entertaining, enjoying. Let me know what you want to see next in this iOS 16 How Does It Run series. I think I might have an idea. A lot of people have been asking about the iPhone 11, but let me know if you agree. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.